What's going on, guys? After many months of not installing my intake, we're gonna change that here today. 3 things you're gonna need: the intake, the box, and I guess a good attitude, because there's only 2 things. So this, I actually created a custom air box in a previous video. If you want to see how I made that, I'll put a link to it in the description for you. But this thing is going in today. Got the fan cooling off the motor right now. And in fact, I did just remember the 3rd thing. It's your access port. So in order to run this intake, you have to reflash the car to stage 1 plus or stage 2 plus, depending on whatever you have. But you're essentially gonna have that plus in there for the intake. So we got everything, it's ready to go, it's ready to rock. At the 30,000 mile service interval, they say you should replace, well, not they say you should replace your stock air filter. And would you look at that? 29,689. First thing you're gonna wanna do is up under here, you got the old plastic piece. So you're gonna wanna take that entire panel off so that you can get to the bottom of the car. You're gonna have to be reaching your hand under, reaching your hand down. It just makes it a lot easier, especially because we got these ramps here. Gives us a lot of clearance, so we're gonna be good. I'm not gonna make a full video on how to take this bottom panel off. It's some pop tabs. You pull them off, you pull the panel off. It's pretty easy. Step 1, complete. Next, you're just gonna remove all of the stock air box and intake scoop. Again, just a couple pop tabs, nothing too crazy. And I broke it. Sweet, broken. This one, you're actually gonna have to get a ratchet. It's just got a couple bolts down there, 2 nuts here, and I believe it slides out after that. Forgot one very pertinent aspect of the install. You do need this headlamp. It's probably super bright. Right now, I've taken the MAF out of the stock airbox just to make it a little bit easier to unplug. For whatever reason, I cannot get this thing. All right, next, you're gonna loosen this coupler here. Just gonna loosen it up a bit. There are 30,000 miles on this car, so it's probably got a little dust. You might wanna give it a little persuasion there. It broke free pretty easy, so that'll be loose, and you can pull it up through the top now. Once you loosen this bolt, this part just pops out, and then you can see down there, you've got the tube that we just loosened. You can pull the whole thing out. That really is not as dirty as I expected it to be. Not bad. Then down below, there also is almost kind of a hidden nut. I don't know if you can see it right here, so you're gonna have to loosen that completely before pulling the entire intake out. Hey there! It's always the joys getting dirt in your eye. So what I'm gonna do is try to get this entire thing out in one pull. Just gonna loosen this up a little bit more, pop it off, and we should be good to go. Hey, come here. Oh, look at you. Oh, look at you. Oh, look at you. Oh. Alrighty then, now that she's totally loose, you can pull the whole thing right on out. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Da, 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 da. It's coming. It's coming. You know what I'm gonna do? You need just gonna loosen this one, drop it down through the bottom. It's a bold move, but I'm gonna do it. I'm so fancy. Come on. Boing. This is kind of a pain in the ass. I thought this was gonna come out easier. There she is. That's really, really easy. It's not as hard as I just made it look, I promise. Oh. Yep, there we go. So now you're left with this. Then you think to yourself, what could possibly be next? I'm gonna tell you what's next. So I actually bought this one used. That is why it's already put together. You basically got your filter, you got your bottom coupler, And you have the bracket for the MAF sensor. If you were to buy this new, you'd have to put all these pieces on separately. They come in the box that way. So this one's all set, ready to go. I'll see if I can fit it in there without having to take it apart. Hopefully I can make this simple. Like I said, this one is used. Guy only had it on for about 1,000 miles or so. These filters are oiled, so you have to clean them, re-oil them every, 6,000 miles, I think. But that'll be happening in another video. Might have to give it a little bit of force. Let me try from below. It doesn't quite fit with the coupler on there, so we are going to go ahead and take that off and see if it helps. Let me try it again from above. I think it's a mixture of a couple things. There we go. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So we're gonna put the coupler back on, connected here at the bottom, and we're gonna be good to go down here. Now you're gonna take your MAF, put it back in the hole. All right, so in order for the actual intake to mount to the car, you're gonna essentially mount the intake using the MAF sensor bracket, and I gotta pop off this extra plastic piece so I can reach my hand up in there and thread it in. So what we're looking at here is we are underneath the car, the right hand side, passenger side. You got this little bracket here that's on the intake, connected to the MAF sensor, and you got this kind of I don't even know what you call this, a bracket. It gives a little bit of a cushion. That is where you're going to be mounting it, right to this metal beam. And this rubber grommet is really the only thing holding the entire intake from moving around. So you want to make sure you line it up perfect. And that way you won't have to worry about it slipping around. One of the most exciting parts for me is the box. Like I said earlier, I actually fabricated my own box lid so that when this thing's in there, you're gonna be able to see the filter. Everyone's gonna know I got horsepower in there. Somehow, you fish this down in. You got your MAF extension, so you're gonna plug that in here, back into the factory harness. Get a little extension, probably an extra 12 inches there. And you're gonna slide it down, plug it in to where you put the MAF in on the new intake. The brand from Navi. Ta-da! You get the box in, you get the box lid. You're gonna want to put your intake ducting on there first so it all lines up. Bada bing, bada boom. You're good to go. I've only got 3 of the 3 of 5 screws to actually put the lid on, so we're gonna have to use them wisely. We're gonna do one on the front, keep the front stable, one on the back, one on the other side. Like I said, the last stiggity step, give the car the reflash. So we've come to Stage 1 Plus BigSF 93 octane. And we're gonna go ahead and click install. Success! The inaugural start with the new Cobb intake. Oh my God! How many horsepower? 500. All right, we're taking a little cruise. The first test, mini sound test, performance test, test of all tests. You hear it? Yeah, I barely got on it. Hold on. Feels slightly faster, but I really think it's more just the noise and kind of the placebo effect. Let's see what we got here. You ready? Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. There, let's see what it sounds like with windows up. Alright, so before that was windows down. A little downshift. It's still pretty loud.
I think you can hear it.
It's like it's coming from there. Slightly more power, maybe, probably nothing to... It doesn't have more power. It doesn't. It just doesn't. But it does sound cool.
Oh, it's gonna rip the corner.
Got screwed.
Did you have the little backfire before?
Yeah, not as much though. It's kind of really loud though. Like, that's loud.
Did you expect that?
No.
By the way, we saw the Tomato Man the other day.
Tomato Man?
Yeah, lived here 15 years. Never seen the Tomato Man. Got a sign that says the Tomato Man.
It's kind of cool.
I assume he sells tomatoes.
I would assume so, with a name like that.
But do you think in a decade and a half, at some point, I would have seen the Tomato Man out on the street?
Never seen him though.
No, not until last week. Saw the Tomato Man. I was thinking he would be like a Stephen King character. You know, like...
That's good stuff.
But he turned out to be just a normal guy. He wasn't even wearing bibbed overalls, which kind of was disappointing.
You just can't help but laugh. Oh, it's awesome.
Ugh.